Okay, I'm going to be talking about basic fundamentals for sacrifice bunting. One of the first things you want to do when you're sacrifice bunting is make an adjustment on where you stand in the batter's box. If you can get a little closer to the plate and also a little closer to the pitcher, it's going to help you do two things. It's going to help you make it easier to keep the ball fair, or if you're standing deeper in the batter's box, there's more foul territory, so it's harder to keep it fair. The other thing, when you go to square around a bunt, it's going to be like choking up an awful lot, so you wouldn't be able to reach the outside corner unless you made that adjustment and got a little closer. So that's the first adjustment you're going to make. The other thing that's important is to make sure you square around early. A couple common bad things to do would be to square around like this, and that's simply because there's no way to get out of the way of the baseball if it comes at you. So what we're going to do is get in our regular batting stance. We'll make a little bit of an adjustment. We'll get a little closer to the pitcher and closer to the plate, and when the pitcher gets ready to throw it, in plenty of time, we want to make sure we do it plenty early. We're going to square around and get the barrel out in front first. We're going to take a step towards the pitcher so we get even wider than we normally would when we hit. And we're going to go ahead and flip that back heel over, and we're going to be in a good balanced position where our chest is tall. All right, our shoelaces will be facing the pitcher, our buckle will be facing the pitcher, and we're going to slide our barrel up, and we're going to keep it slightly angled up so that the ball will go on the ground when we hit it. Okay? Which kind of brings up another point. We're actually going to not try and hit the ball when we're bunting. Instead, it's going to be more like you're catching the ball. Just want to let the ball come to us and catch the ball. So it's important not to have the bat off to the side too far, because we won't be able to see where it's hitting. Now, we obviously aren't going to put it right in front of our face, because we don't want it to hit us in the nose either. So out in front, a little bit off to the side, so we can see the angle of where it's going to come. If we're going to try and deaden the ball, we want to end off to the last 3 inches of the bat. That's going to make it go softer and not go very far. Anywhere on a sacrifice bunt is good except for hard back to the pitcher. So as long as we can beat it in the ground, assuming that it's not to the catcher, if he gets it real quick, then that's another way we might not get the sacrifice done. All right, if there's a runner at first, ideally they'd be to the first base side. Runners at first and second, we want that third baseman to come in and field it so we can't get the force there. But anyway, we bunt it soft and not hard back to the pitcher, it's probably going to get the sacrifice to work. All right, so kind of getting back on track. From our batting stance, we're going to take a nice big step, get the barrel out in front. To the first base side, we're going to push the barrel out, or the handle out, and that's going to make the barrel come backward. And when we catch the ball, the angle is going to be such that it'll go towards the first base side. If we pull in, then it's going to make the ball go to the third base side. It's important that we do that right away. If I know in my head that I want to try and get it to the third base side, I want to get the barrel out in front, slide my hand up, and I want to make sure that I create my angle, and all I have to worry about doing is catching the ball. I start at the top of the strike zone, so if it's above my barrel, I can pull it back. And if it's low, rather than trying to go down with my barrel, I'm just going to simply use my legs. So I can go up and down and keep my eyes in the same angle so it's easy to catch. A little bit about your grip. You want to make sure you don't have your fingers wrapped around, because you can hurt yourself if a ball ends up coming in on you. We also don't want to get carried away and get too wimpy and hold it like that, because the bat will fall right out of our hands. So the other thing to consider is we want to make sure we get up there high enough for balance, and there's more barrel to hide our hand behind. So you ought to be able to do it with one hand and find that balance point, and this hand can either stay down or it can come up and you can cut the bat in thirds, so you can have good balance and good bat control. I like to think about it as opening a jar of peanut butter. You have your thumb pointing down towards the barrel and your other 3 fingers pointing back towards the handle, and there's plenty of room for you not to get hit in the hand, but you still got a good grip of it. You ought to be able to hold it upside down and shake it, and it's not going to fall out of your hand. Okay, so we start at our batting stance. We're going to make that adjustment a little closer to the plate. We go a little closer to the pitcher. We make sure we take a big step and point our toe, get the barrel out in front. Let's say we'll go to the first base side this time. We'll slide our hand up, push the bottom out, and we'll start at the top of the strike zone. If it's a strike, we're going to bunt it. If not, we can just pull back and it'll be a ball. All right, if it's a low pitch, we just got to make sure we come down, even if we got to go all the way down to a knee. The most important thing here is to get the bunt down, and then we can run to first base. But if you try and be too quick and you don't get the bunt down, it can open up a lot of problems. You'll pop it up, and then it could be a double play, or it could throw, you could miss it, and the catcher could end up coming up throwing and picking your guy off. So that's the basics for the sacrifice bunt. There'll be more talk about bunting for a base hit, but you have to get this solid fundamental down before you can move on. Thanks for listening.